looks nice with something in it.
And dirt. Don't forget all that dirt we had to bring in.
If we're going to go around trying...
Aloy, everything okay with you and Beta? It sounded like you guys had a, lively conversation.
We just had a lot to talk about.
Does this mean she's coming with us to Gemini?
It does. I hope you're ready to rein in the most stubborn AI of all time.
That's what all this was for, wasn't it?
Hephaestus won't go down quietly.
Hephaestus is just a program that's lost its way. We are fighting for our survival. I can always call upon the goddess if you're nervous.
Funny. How does everyone seem to you?
Anxious, but ready. I heard Katalo ask for Alva's help with his pulse generator, and I know he's been helping her with a few fighting techniques, just in case.
I hope they aren't needed.
Like I said, just in case.
Any last findings you want to share before leaving?
Not really, though I've reached a decision.
Oh?
When we put Gaia together, I want to return to the Nora, spread what I've learned.
You think they'll listen to you?
In time, I believe so.
If anyone can make it happen, it's you, Varl. Once Gaia is back up and running, I expect you to put all your training to good use.
The seeds have been planted. All they need is a chance to bloom. What? I thought that was pretty good. Zoe liked it.
I'm glad you and Zoe found each other.
Don't forget, you're to blame for that.
What will you and Zoe do if you go back to the Embrace?
I hope she'll come with me. At least for a while. And I'll go with her to Plainsong too. She'll probably want to talk to her people about all this as well. We'll figure it out.
I know you will. I hope firing off those pulse generators will be enough to distract the Zeniths.
It'll work. It has to.
Always optimistic, huh?
Nah, just stubborn. It's a good quality to have when dealing with you.
Yeah, right. You were right, you know, about keeping Rost's memories buried. I guess part of me thought he was holding me back, because he wanted me to be a Nora. But the truth is, he gave me a lot. And I took him for granted.
He was a good man. He raised you well.
I'm glad you're coming with me, Varl.
Sure there's no urge to run off alone in there somewhere?
No more running. Hey, I thought I'd check in before leaving for Gemini.
Are you sure we shouldn't be checking up on you? Whatever went on between you and Beta sounded intense. Not that I'm judging. Forge knows all the screws flew loose every time Mercer and I fought.
I think we'll be fine from now on.
I'm glad to hear it.
Have you spoken with Alva yet?
Yeah, when she's not reading the archives like a giddy kid drinking her first ale. She took to that new focus quick, that's for sure. I gotta say, I'm a little jealous. But I can see why you two hit it off.
Anybody take you up on that ale you brought yet?
Zoe can't stand the smell of it. I tried Alva, but I don't think she knows what taking a break means. And I'm not putting Varl anywhere near that stuff after that victory party in Meridian.
What about Katalo?
Ah, now there's a man that can hold his liquor. Pretty sure we downed half a keg. We had a good chat, I think.
You look tired.
Ha! You never want to hold back, are you? I've just been making sure that I got everything down for this mission of yours. I wouldn't want to be the usual screw-up out there.
You'll do fine, Erend. After we get Hephaestus, we'll be taking the fight to the Zeniths. So, no more reading.
Ah, it wasn't that bad. Not really. Besides, going through all that data helped me realize something. You know, the soldiers, the ones that fought the Pharaoh machines so Gaia could be built, they were fighting a battle that couldn't be won. Not with all the weapons in the world. I think most of them realized that, whether anyone said it or not. They still did it, though. They bought time for all the eggheads working to save the future. Our future. As long as I can do that for you, I'll consider myself a success.
Thank you, Erend. I'm glad you're with me.
Yeah, okay, enough. I'm gonna get emotional.
I should go.
That same here. I got a date with a cauldron to prepare for.
Hey, we'll be going after Hephaestus soon. You good with the plan?
I've already got the location of my assigned cauldron.
Good.
I heard you and Beta had a talk.
News travels fast.
It wasn't exactly a quiet conversation.
There were just things that needed to be said.
A healthy crop to those who clear the weeds between them, as the Utaru say.
Have you met our new Quen guest yet?
I could barely keep up as she gave herself a tour of the base. Varl gave her a new focus. Though when he told her she was free to access all the data we have here, she turned so pale I thought she'd faint on the spot. We showed her to the archive room so she could see for herself. She hasn't left the place since.
That sounds like Alva. How are things with everyone?
Slightly quieter. Aaron's been busy scouring data on his newest obsession. Apparently the old ones wrestled machines as some kind of performance. Called it metal versus meat. A must-see battle between steel and flesh, as Aaron likes to put it. You'd think we have enough of that going around as it is.
You look like you have something on your mind.
We're going to war soon. And war is something I promised myself I'd left behind in the Red Raids. But the more of your data I go through, every voice I hear, every word I read from our ancient past, it makes me realize just how much life was given so that ours could flourish. Fighting for that gift, it's our responsibility. If we fail, it was all for naught.
Helps to know you're not alone.
For a moment there, you sounded like Varl.
I don't know what you're talking about. Read anything interesting lately?
I found out the old ones use leaf infusions like the Utaru do. Tea, they call it. Apparently it helped soothe them. That and some sort of scented wax they used to cleanse their aura. Plus something called bubble baths. Me, I think I'll stick to singing to calm the nerves.
Varl looks pretty focused.
He's been obsessing over the data revealed to us by Poseidon. Just the other day, we read about mountains hiding deep underwater that spew fire. If I understand correctly, Gaia said the flames they release come from the very center of the Earth. Like a heart, beating with the life of the world. As always, the cycle can be found in even the most unlikely of places. Of course, Varl's mostly interested in watching explosions happen underwater.
I assume you've been looking into Demeter now that Gaia's merged with it?
Yes, it's been humbling to know that the seeds I carry in this pouch came in turn from the seeds saved for Demeter in the old world. It gives me hope that the cycle of life will prevail now, just as it did before.
I should go.
As soon as you intend to leave for Gemini,
You'll hear about it. Holograms. Gaia, I thought you said the data here was lost.
I was able to repurpose the equipment to store the data you have acquired in your travels.
Well, looks like it's getting some use.
Green. Aloy!
Right to work, I see.
There's just so much. I mean, we knew of artificial beings that served the ancestors, but Gaia? Oh, she's amazing! And you, a true reincarnation of an ancestor. Genetically speaking, of course, not like the, late CO. And there's more ancestors out there, returned from beyond the stars. Of course, they're trying to kill us, which is not great. And Eric Visser is with them, which is disturbing. And then there's Hephaestus, and...
Okay. How about we take it one step at a time?
You're right. I also owe you an explanation for everything that happened at Landfall. Oh, and if you have a moment, there's something I could use your help with.
I imagine you don't know anyone here that well yet, but they're a good group.
It's funny because one of your friends is, well, another you. Not that you are the same person at all. I mean, you are, as in, you're both genetically Elizabeth Sobek, but even so, you're different.
We grew up very differently. But sometimes different is good.
Yes, of course.
I hope everyone's been treating you okay.
Oh, yeah, of course. They've all been extremely welcoming. And they share the knowledge they learn on their focuses with each other freely. It's refreshing. Back home, diviners can only share data with the permission from the overseers.
Sounds restrictive and stifling.
Yeah, you are not wrong.
Have you spoken with Zoe at all?
A little bit, but I did hear her singing with Varl not too long ago. I don't think they noticed. Zoe seemed so free when she did it. Like every emotion she had was taking flight in song. And she looked happier because of it. I felt so dull and nervous in comparison.
You should ask Zoe to teach you sometime. About Utaru music.
Maybe.
If you need anything before heading out to the cauldrons.
You have nothing to worry about. Gaia's explained your plan in detail, as expected from such an efficient AI. I've even received some very, succinct combat advice from Kotalo. You know, in case the Zeniths show up.
What kind of advice?
He, told me to run.
For now. We'll even the odds soon enough. I see you've been using your new focus.
It's been fascinating. So much better than the version the Quen have. What would have taken me years to sort through, like the database you helped me recover, with this, I've been able to establish search parameters to speed up the process. This could revolutionize how diviners analyze the legacy. That is, whatever part of it the overseers would actually let us study.
You wanted data, you'll find lots of it here.
A diviner has never had this sort of unsupervised access to archives such as this. And knowing you, I suspect there is much that would normally be forbidden held within them. But I was sent here to help you. I would be remiss to ignore any truth laid before me. Maybe it'll help the Quen find their way back to the path of truth.
Any more data catch your eye?
All of it? I have so much to study up on. Years, actually. I'm particularly interested in the Odyssey. We knew the ancestors had made it to the moon. In fact, we theorized some of them had settled on it. But Sirius is way farther than that. And we thought journeying across the ocean would be the feat of a lifetime. The sheer calculations needed for space travel, it's overwhelming to think about.
Even so, the Quen are way ahead of other tribes when it comes to understanding this stuff. Where I grew up, Everyone thought that stars were sparks that rose from a fire lit by the goddess to guide us through the night. You mentioned Eric Visser? How do you know about him?
The Zenith who tried to kill you? He is known to the Quen as the Protector. Combing through data related to his work led us to breakthroughs related to weapons and military tactics. Knowledge our rulers used to conquer and expand, to become the empire we are today. That's why he's one of our most revered ancestors. But based on your encounter with him, it appears he's even more ruthless than we ever imagined. Yet another distorted interpretation in the legacy.
Well, at least you're piecing together the truth.
If only the overseers back home would do the same.
Beta mentioned other Zeniths. Tilda, Verbena, and Gerard.
I'm afraid I don't know anything about them. Whatever legacy they left behind, the Diviners haven't recovered.
Must be strange to think that some of the ancestors your tribe reveres are still alive. And here on Earth, right now.
Yeah, it is. Part of me's curious to know who else besides Eric Visser might be among them. Maybe Nikita Arand? We call her the Spark. The legacy tells us she brought unlimited energy to the old ones. Or Sung Jiao, whom we call the Healer. It is said she found new ways to extend the ancestors' lifespans. But my curiosity fades when I think of how different our view of Visser was compared to the reality that you experienced. Perhaps it is better not to know.
You mentioned there was something you needed help with?
Yes. So, as I was sifting through data from the greenhouse, I found references to an old world system back in the Great Delta. It's called Leviathan. My people discovered it decades ago. A sprawling network of river gates and a labyrinth of underground tunnels. The legacy revealed that the old ones used it to control flooding. But we've never gotten it to work. The whole thing is shut down. But the data from the greenhouse mentions the research facility where Leviathan was created. It's in San Francisco.
Another Pharaoh facility?
No. Leviathan was a project by Eileen Sasaki, another ancestor. So the legacy tells us, anyway. If we can acquire that data, we might be able to fix the system back in the Great Delta. Every year, my sister gets terrified when the long rains begin. With Leviathan, maybe she won't have to be.
Okay. So, where in San Francisco is this facility?
That's the thing. The data doesn't say where, exactly. But one of our diviners has been exploring the ruins. He might know. Would you come with me? I have a feeling that wherever this facility is, well, you're much better at fighting machines than I am.
Of course. I'll let you know when I'm in landfall.
Thank you, Aloy.
I should go.
Of course. Before you do, is everything all right? It sounded like there was an issue with Beta and the mission.
Not anymore. We just needed to talk some things through.
To understand one another is to embrace truth.
And, like I said, I'll let you know when I'm in landfall. We'll find the data you're after.
I appreciate it.
Welcome back.
Okay, data module's in.
Hello, Aloy.
Hey, Gaia. So, me and Beta. I guess you heard what happened.
Yes. I am continuously impressed by the complexity of human relationships. Despite the unpleasant circumstances that led to your quarrel, I am pleased to see you have both found an agreeable resolution.
Well, two heads are better than one, right?
Yes, I believe so. Are you ready to depart for Cauldron Gemini? Or we can continue our conversation, if you like.
Have you been able to make use of Demeter's functions?
Yes. I was able to mitigate most soil conditions and restore a temporary balance. You should notice less rampant plant growth in the area.
Maybe that'll give Plainsong's fields a chance to recover.
Unfortunately, recovery in that area is unlikely without the assistance of the Utaru's land gods. I have discussed this matter with Zoe. I believe we may have a workaround.
Yeah, I'm helping her out with that. There's something I'm still trying to figure out. Why was Demeter using flying machines to distribute metal flowers?
In its deranged state, Demeter was defending itself against a robotic swarm that would devour all plant life.
It thought the Pharaoh Plague was still happening?
It feared it would come again. As part of its directive of reseeding Earth's vegetation, it sought to protect plant life at all costs. And considering it had 20 years to proliferate, I expect you will continue to find the fruits of its efforts for some time.
It's a good thing I have the code to dissolve the vines, then. The missing subordinate functions. What can you tell me about them?
Artemis rewilded the Earth with a variety of animal species. Eleuthia was responsible for gestating, nurturing, and acculturating a new generation of human beings. Apollo was tasked with preserving, organizing, and disseminating vast archives of human knowledge and cultural achievements. Unfortunately, all archived Apollo data was purged on the 2nd of February, 2066, by order of Ted Farrow.
Ted. Guess he got what he deserved, in the end.
Yes. An igneous conclusion to his pathological narcissism, impulsive tendencies, and instability.
All three of the missing functions have already served their purpose, or were prevented from doing so. Do you still need them?
Restoring their remaining elements would increase my heuristic processing density, empowering my overall function. Unfortunately, as we now know they are in the possession of Far Zenith, attaining them in the short term is very likely impossible.
I guess our best shot at recovering them is by taking over the Zenith base. But we'll need Hephaestus and a bunch of combat machines to do that.
Correct.
The Zeniths. Gerard, Eric, Tilda, Verbena. Beta said they were some of the most powerful people on Earth. I think Elizabeth knew one of them. Tilda. Did she ever mention her to you?
No. Elizabeth often spoke of her work, or told stories of her mother and her childhood. If she knew this Tilda, she did not disclose it with me. What we can conclude from your and Beta's experiences is that the Zeniths are ruthless in pursuit of their goal. To protect life on Earth, they must be stopped.
So, about Beta. I never really saw the difference between us, until now. She's been through so much. Completely alone.
You have both endured many hardships. Different in almost every respect, yet equally remarkable. I like to think of you as two miracles, born of Elizabeth Sobek.
3, then. Let's not forget about you, Gaia. All this data I've picked up in ancient bunkers and ruins. I guess I never really thought that other people would be looking at it.
Based on my observations, your companions engage quite frequently with this material. Erend has asked on numerous occasions about birthday parties. He appears perplexed by the tradition of serving a sweet confection, as it conflicts with the Oseram tradition of serving sparkling stout ale. He also suggested we host a party for you, as a surprise.
Yeah, no thanks.
That is what I predicted.
Is Katalo getting along with everyone?
Yes, though he prefers to spend most of the time alone. He appears to be collating data on war machine progression and significant battles during the Pharaoh Plague, to aid in the creation of a war map of Operation Enduring Victory. I believe he aims to study the tactics of old world warfare.
I'd be interested in seeing that.
It appears to be a private pastime for him. He has repeatedly declined my offers to assist his research.
How's all of us settling in?
As soon as she arrived, Alva was eager to study the data in the archive. A particular file soon caught her attention. Information about a machine assistant devoted to keeping living spaces neat and orderly. I informed her that once I am empowered with the abilities of Hephaestus, I may be able to design such a machine.
I'm sure she'll like that. When I set out to find a way to bring you back, I never thought we'd be here, like this. Among friends.
They have all come a long way with their improvised educations. Varl has suggested that one day we might extend this model to more tribal inhabitants, once the biosphere has been stabilized.
Yeah, that's not such a bad idea. As long as you're the one running the lessons. So our plan to capture Hephaestus. Let's go over it again.
As you wish. Thanks to Beta's test, we now know that Hephaestus will not respond to your Alpha clearance.
Which is why I got Ted Pharaoh's Omega clearance.
Correct. While you were gone, Beta constructed the transport rig and pulse generators. When we get to Gemini, I will need to be installed on one of the facility's cores. The second core is for Hephaestus. Using Omega clearance will allow you to trap it.
And then you'll be able to absorb it.
Not quite. You will need to manually remove Hephaestus's malicious code before the merge.
How long will that take?
Because the work will be split between you and Beta, it will take approximately 4.5 hours.
And during that time, the others will create a distraction for us using the pulse generators, right?
Correct. They will each take position at a cauldron door and fire off their device. The energy surge should mask our activities until the merge is complete.
And then we'll have everything we need to defeat the Zeniths. Sounds like a plan. So now that you have Ether, Demeter, and Poseidon, how's the biosphere looking?
In the local region, conditions have improved. Superstorms have subsided. Water sources have been purified, and soil conditions remediated. These improvements will stave off environmental collapse for a few additional months.
Well, with luck, soon you'll have Hephaestus. Then you'll be able to fix the biosphere for good, right?
Correct. I will be able to design and produce robotic agents to permanently reverse the environmental damage that has accumulated.
There's something I've been wondering. How could Ted Faro create a clearance level higher than Alpha? Elizabeth made sure he wouldn't interfere with the project.
It is plausible he tasked his own engineers with creating a backdoor to the Zero Dawn system, without Elizabeth's knowledge. My predecessor did not even know of its existence until he activated it to purge the Apollo database. It is, in effect, a blind spot. One that will allow us to subdue Hephaestus.
Gaia? What was Elizabeth like?
Her presence is interwoven with my memories. The moment I came online, she was there. We exchanged greetings, names, then set to our task. It was the first of many conversations. I enjoyed being in her company, listening to her stories. She was my creator, my guide.
Your friend.
Yes. When I reviewed the data on your focus, I was saddened to learn of her fate, though I am glad she made it home. I deeply wish she did not have to be alone.
She was okay with that. She gave all of herself. Did all that she could. Thanks, Gaia. So Gemini has 2 data cores. I've never seen a cauldron like that. But you mentioned something about seismic activity?
When my predecessor attempted to build the cauldron, construction was disrupted by a series of earthquakes. The data core had already been built, but the rest of the facility sustained damage. So, she began again. A second core was built. However, when more tremblers occurred, she abandoned the site.
Lucky for us. Are the quakes still happening?
No, though they did also create instabilities in other facilities in the region.
So the facility where I recovered Demeter used to be a Faro agricultural research facility. It's where they created the biomass conversion system, but also adamantine wreath. Did Elizabeth know they were working on that?
It is likely she was briefed on other efforts to combat the machine swarm, though her focus was devoted only to Zero Dawn.
That makes sense. But they actually got the wreaths to work. If they've been able to deploy it against the Faro Plague in time...
Using the data you recovered on the project, I ran several simulations and have concluded that it would never have worked. In all scenarios, the Faro war machines would eventually hack and deactivate the wreaths before they could contain the swarm.
So Zero Dawn really was the only solution. There was a lot of data in the greenhouse facility about agriculture. Do you think it'll help the Quen fix their homeland?
I will run a query. Complete. The data contains information about novel crop production methods, which may be beneficial to the tribe in the long term.
But new crops aren't going to save the world, so I guess it's on us.
It is.
So I, found Thebes. What do you think Ted would have done if his life extension treatments had worked?
It seems he convinced himself it was his duty to guide future humans. Given the tribal nature of new humans, and his ability to use Omega clearance on the terraforming system, I imagine he would have convinced one or more tribes to worship him as their patriarchal deity.
Okay. Yep, glad that didn't happen. Aside from Gaia Prime and Thebes, there was one other underground facility that was sealed before the Pharaoh Plague reached it. Elysium. The place where Zero Dawn's staff and their families went to live out their lives. Do you know what happened to it?
Elysium was designed to provide life support for 100 years. My data indicates the facility went offline well before then.
Did the Pharaoh Plague find them?
Unknown. My connection to the facility was abruptly severed.
So what will happen to this place while we're at Gemini?
All systems within this facility will continue to operate. As Minerva will no longer be masking this location, the facility will be exposed to detection. Though without my presence, it is unlikely to attract attention.
Let's hope so. Okay, people. It's time to head out.
I'll get everyone together.
Connections in place. Booting up.
Beta, Aloy. I am fully installed on this core and ready to connect to the Cauldron network.
It's good to hear your voice. Errand, everyone. Fire your pulses and sound off.
I'm at my cauldron. This thingy, it's blinking. Did I do it right? In position at my cauldron. My pulse generator is blinking also.
That means they're working. I'm in position, and mine is too. Mine as well.
Okay. Radio silence until I give the all clear. Signing off. Gaia, let's cage the beast.
Connecting to the Cauldron network now.
Elizabeth Sobek, Alpha Prime, activating Omega clearance. Elizabeth Sobek, Alpha Prime, activating Omega clearance.
Clearance confirmed. Initiating containment sequence.
Critical threat detected. Imperative escape containment. Applying
Lock it down!
Terminating external connections.
It's working. It's got nowhere to go.
Capture imminent. Initiating contingency 13F.
Wait, what's that?
Malware detected. Attempting to compensate.
It's cracked.
Look!
Engaging autonomous defenses. Directive neutralize.
That means machines are on their way. Get ready!
Here they come! We're spotted. Attacking with acid! Stay back! Devil! Get back!
Oh, you're wounded!
Over here, you!
Hold on! Fall!
Aloy! Need a hand over here! Draw it away from Beta! Stay back! I've got this! We'll have to get back! Over here, you!
Aloy! Help!
Aloy! Need a hand over here! Draw it away from Beta!
Aloy!
Stay back!
Laura needs help!
Get back! Over here, you! Aloy! Need a hand over here! Draw it away from Beta! Stay back! Get back! Over here, you!
It's really angry!
Aloy! Get a hand over here! Draw it away from Beta!
Get somewhere safe, Aloy.
Stay back!
Just what I needed. Aloy!
Get back!
all of them for now. You two okay? Sorry, there was something I needed to do. You were talking before I left?
Still breathing.
Aloy, Hephaestus can't escape, but it must have fled deeper into the facility. Chase after Hephaestus. Force it out of wherever it's hiding. Make it retreat to the core.
Aloy, I'm patched into your focus feed. You should know there's a huge power draw coming from the next chamber.
Thanks for the heads up. I'm almost there. It's some kind of production chamber. Hephaestus is up to something, all right?
What kind of machine is it trying to build?
I don't know, but I'm gonna shut it down. I bet those metal carriers will lead me to where it's getting materials from.
I bet that's where Hephaestus is hiding too.